One powder handles all of it. It costs $2, and it has been sitting on the hardware store shelf for over 130 years. It is not a secret. It is just not profitable. A mineral pulled straight from the ground, the same formula since 1872, impossible to patent. There is no margin in teaching you about it. So the garden brands keep selling you a different bottle for every problem, and you keep buying, and the problems keep coming back. University research has confirmed what experienced growers have known for generations. But that research does not end up in the catalog mailed to your door every February. The catalog sells the bottles. It is called Borax, sodium tetraborate, mined from dry lake beds in the Mojave Desert since the 1880s, used in gardens and homes long before the chemical companies arrived. Today I am giving you 11 specific uses, from wiping out ant colonies to protecting your apple trees from the inside out. Number 11 is the one almost nobody outside old farming communities has ever heard spoken out loud. It comes from a USDA Farmer's Bulletin printed in 1914 that quietly disappeared from every edition after World War II. Stay with me to the end. That one is worth the wait. You will learn how to destroy an ant colony from the inside without killing a single scout, how to stop slugs, roaches, and wood-boring insects without expensive sprays, how a single tablespoon fixes the soil deficiency that makes your tomatoes drop flowers without setting fruit, and the one treatment for apple trees that the catalog does not want you doing yourself. Borax does not kill on contact. That is exactly why it works. The University of California Agriculture and Natural Resources program has confirmed what generations of gardeners already knew. Low-dose borax bait wipes out entire ant colonies within 72 hours because the workers carry it home and feed the queen themselves. Kill the scouts directly, and tomorrow brings a fresh trail. Poison the bait, and the whole colony collapses from the inside. Mix 1 teaspoon of borax into 1 cup of warm water with half a cup of sugar. Stir until clear. Soak cotton balls in the mixture. Set them on jar lids right along the trail. Do not disturb the trail. Do not kill the scouts. You want them walking. In 3 days, the trail is gone for the season. Borax pulls moisture from a slug's soft body the same way salt does, but without poisoning your soil the way heavy salt will. Sprinkle a thin, dry ring around the base of vulnerable plants, about ½ an inch wide. Keep it off the leaves and off the stem. Refresh after heavy rain. Lettuce, strawberries, cabbage, hostas, the plants stay untouched. The slugs turn around. Mix equal parts borax and plain white flour, or borax and powdered sugar. Dust a thin line behind the refrigerator, under the stove, along the back of the cabinets. The insect grooms the powder off its legs, swallows it, and its digestive system fails within a day or two. Texas A&M Extension documented over 90% reduction in German cockroach populations in field trials using borax bait. Same powder, real science. Dissolve 10 grams of borax in 500 milliliters of water. Spray the paths and borders between your garden beds at the start and middle of summer when woodlice are most active. That's the ground covered. Now let's go into the wood and into the walls. Dissolve borax in warm water, roughly 1 part borax to 8 parts water. Brush or spray it onto bare, unpainted wood, fence posts, the underside of the porch, barn beams, sill plates, firewood before it comes inside. The borax soaks into the wood fibers. When a termite or carpenter ant chews through, it destroys the gut bacteria the insect needs to digest cellulose. The pest starves in its own tunnels. This protection lasts for years as long as the wood stays out of driving rain. The commercial product that does exactly the same thing costs 10 times more and contains the same active ingredient. Mix 1 cup of borax into 1 quart of hot water. Scrub it into the moldy surface with a stiff brush and do not rinse it off. That is the key. Rinsing removes the protection. Borax keeps drying out the spores for weeks after you apply it. One treatment in early spring keeps a cellar wall, a wood beam, or a weather-exposed siding clean through the season. Borax does not reliably kill mice, but they avoid it. Sprinkle a generous band across the threshold of the shed, around the base of feed bins, behind the chicken drinker. The fine powder sticks to their feet. Mice groom their feet, and quickly decide your shed is not worth the trouble. The grain stays in the bin. Now into the vegetable garden, and the real reason your tomatoes won't set fruit. Boron is a trace element every fruiting plant needs to develop flowers correctly and push them through to fruit. If your cauliflower has brown rot in the center, your beets come out corky, your tomatoes drop blossoms without a single tomato forming, or your apple tree blooms heavy in May and gives you a thin crop in September, your soil is almost certainly short on boron. Oregon State Extension has recommended the same rate for decades. 1 level tablespoon of borax dissolved in 1 gallon of warm water, sprayed evenly over 1,000 square feet of garden, once a year in spring. That is it. Do not double it. Boron works in whispers and burns in shouts. Too much sterilizes your soil for years. Once a year, never more. Plants that need it most: beets, cauliflower, broccoli, apples, pears, tomatoes, carrots. Medium need: cucumbers, peppers, strawberries, currants. That gray-white dust, spreading across your leaves, moves faster than you can cut it back. This spray brings plants back that you were ready to pull. 1 teaspoon of borax and 1 tablespoon of cooking oil in 1 gallon of water. Shake hard. Spray both sides of affected leaves in the early morning before the sun hits them. The borax shifts the pH on the leaf surface to something the fungus cannot survive. The oil makes it stick instead of beating off. 3 applications, 4 days apart. You will save plants you had already given up on. Borax kills everything green it touches, which is exactly why you keep it far from your beds. But in cracks where nothing should grow, dissolve 1 1/4 cups of borax in 1 gallon of warm water and pour it directly into the crack on a dry, sunny day. Crabgrass, dandelion, creeping Charlie, gone within a week. Gone for the season. And now the 11th use, the one I made this video for. The codling moth is the most common reason homegrown apples are not edible. That brown tunnel bored straight to the core, that is the larva. Every garden catalog sells you pheromone traps at $15 each, sticky bands, sprays at $30 a bottle that needs 7 applications a season. Here is what works instead, and what has not appeared in official recommendations for over a century. Late winter, before the buds break. Late February in the south, late March further north. Mix borax with warm water into a thick paste, the consistency of thin paint. Take a wide brush and paint a solid band around the trunk of the apple tree, starting about 12 inches off the ground and going up to about 3 feet high. Here is why it works. Codling moth larvae overwinter in the crevices of the bark on the trunk itself. When they wake in spring and begin crawling upward toward the new buds, they have to cross that band. They do not make it. 1 application, 1 tree, pennies. This method appeared in a Used a Farmer's Bulletin from 1914 and quietly vanished from every updated edition once synthetic pesticides took over the market after World War II. Not because it stopped working, because it could not be sold. Before you start, borax is not harmless in any quantity. The old rule holds here more than anywhere. The line between remedy and poison is the dose. A teaspoon for ants, a tablespoon for soil, a brush coat for wood, never more, never round it up. Since 2010, the European Chemicals Agency has classified borates as a substance of concern at high industrial exposure levels, meaning decades of breathing dust in a mine, not a teaspoon on an ant trail in your kitchen. The warning label on the box is printed the same for every market. Keep it away from children and pets. Use the amounts given here. Then it is exactly what it has always been. A mineral from the ground that does more than most bottles on the shelf. For a fraction of the price. Drop a comment below. Where are you gardening and what pest is winning the war this year? I read everyone, and sometimes your question becomes the next video.